meet our first official growth hacker on the Sales Podcast. Hello, my friends, and welcome to the 189th episode of the Sales Podcast. Last week, we heard from my buddy Micah Mitchell, the founder of Memberium, a membership site you can run on WordPress and run it through Infusionsoft. So be sure to check out that episode. Just listen to thesaleswhisper.com/session 188. Mike has a great story of how he built up his business as an entrepreneur and how he is growing his current business and how he chose to focus on Infusionsoft, and I think you will get a kick out of that. Today we have Nathan Brown. I've not met Nathan, but we share our story of how we ran across each other online. And I can tell you this. We went almost an hour on this episode, and I got lost a couple of times, or distracted, I should say. I was taking notes, and I was looking up websites and things he was recommending during the episode. I'm like, hey, go back, because I actually missed some things because he was sharing so much good resources. So you will want to be sure to have a notepad and pen handy, have your computer handy, because he shares a lot of good growth hacks, honestly, to help you grow your business, even if you're bootstrapping things, even if money is tight. I think you'll get a kick out of this. And even if business is going well and you want some inside scoop on what to do to get more exposure, get more traffic, this will be a valuable episode for you. If you're looking for other valuable resources, please check out the5.us. That's where you can come to Southern California. Once you get here, everything else is covered. Your lodging, your food, your entertainment, and come hang out for 2.5 days and focus on your business and grow. You know, Jim Rohn says you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So come hang out with 5 cool, motivated entrepreneurs and grow your business. Now let's bring on Mr. Nathan Brown. Nathan C. Brown, all the way from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And for the uneducated in geography, go Google it, all right? So growth hacker, digital marketing consultant, welcome to the Sales Podcast. How the heck are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself, Wes?
I'm good. Thanks for taking some time to hang out with me online. You and I met digitally just a few weeks ago. It was a thread, and I don't remember what group it was in, but people were asking about something technical, getting into SEO, and you were both gracious with your time and the volume of information you were providing that person, but you were accurate. You know, so I reached out to you and said, hey, let's come on the show. You know, like we talked about before we turned on the recording, that I don't usually get too technical, but there is a lot of misinformation out there, and you just seemed like a knowledgeable, straight-shooting dude. So I wanted to have you on the show. So, you know, with beyond that, I mean, would you mind taking a minute or two and tell our listeners a little more about you, and then we'll dive down the rabbit hole?
Sure, yeah. I've been designing websites and working with a bunch of different businesses on marketing campaigns for a little over 10 years. I mostly work with startups. I've worked with companies like Mad Mimi, InfluAds, LawKick, Lexicata, couple of startups that ended up with being acquired by GoDaddy and buy-sell ads. Worked a lot of time building up a freelance network referred to as the National Media Alliance. It's my consulting brand. Well, a lot of people call it a growth hacker. I personally realized that when I moved out of California and back to Tennessee, that outside of startup communities, people don't know what a growth hacker is.
Hey, son, are you hacking like your corn growth? Now, I'm kind of confused.
I quite literally have been asked, is that legal? So I switched. I started calling myself a growth and marketing consultant, and I've worked with a lot of brands since then, helping them build better products and market them better.
Right. Very cool. So what brought you to California, and then what brought you back to Tennessee?
Yeah. Well, originally I went out to California to work with the LawKick team. LawKick was a legal marketplace, still is a legal marketplace for finding attorneys without having to go to a bunch of different offices to answering the same questions just to get different bids. LawKick was there to provide that transparency. We ended up pivoting to a different product, software as a service model, It's now called Lexicata, and it's basically Salesforce for attorneys, CRM for law firms, as well as solo attorneys.
So were you just recruited just as an employee?
Yep, I was. Originally, there were just four of us. There were the two co-founders, and then our CTO, our chief developer, and then myself as the head of growth.
Cool. And how'd they find you?
AngelList, actually. AngelList was a pretty great recruiting tool for us at that point.
Oh, very cool. Did you have a degree in that, or you just knew it?
No, actually, yeah. I actually left college for that particular role. I went out to California and decided that experience was worth more than a degree at that point, and that's ended up paying off. I've still working on eventually getting my MBA, but in the meantime, I've been able to garner enough experience that through referrals and just by building trust and by posting on Facebook groups like you were mentioning and just showing that I know what I'm talking about, I've been able to keep a solid client base as a result.
Very nice. And so now are you just still solopreneur, or do you have like virtual contractors with you, or what?
So you remember the National Media Alliance that I mentioned before?
Right.
I've been working on that. I actually started that when I was 18.
Wow.
Yeah, the first boost we got, we were recognized by Andrew McKelvey. He was the founder of Monster.com. We were recognized as one of the top 60 young entrepreneur business models. And basically, what we've evolved from since then is the alliances consists of a number of freelancers and media experts and consultants like myself that have complementary services.
Right.
So, for instance, I specialize in things like analytics, marketing campaigns, UX, and obviously SEO and analytics. But I don't specialize. For instance, one of my areas is not designing a logo. I can tell you if it looks good, but It's not my area of expertise. But the alliance has people that do that. So what I do is when I have a consulting client, I put together a custom team out of the people that I have vetted within the alliance that fits the client's needs, and then we become that client's team. That way they don't have to pay agency level prices for full-time employees and full-time staff. They can just pay for the team that they need for that specific project.
Right. Very cool. So what would you say then is your specialty? Because like I said, I was drawn to you from your technical understanding of SEO. Mm-hmm. But I mean, do you get into everything with a company? I mean, web design, SEO, copywriting, social media marketing?
I do. The thing is, SEO in and of itself, you'll find less and less people who really know what they're doing calling themselves SEO consultants. That isn't to say that there aren't still people who specialize in just SEO that know what they're doing. But a lot of people who are looking for more successful cross-channel marketing, they're not focusing just on search engine optimization anymore. They're usually combining data with search engine optimization for organic search along with their paid search marketing, as well as any other paid data they can get. If they're dropping retargeting campaigns, that means that they're dropping cookies on a bunch of different people's computers every time they visit their website. So you can use that to help both your SEO as well as your social media marketing. So in the long run, I found that I'm able to provide a lot more benefit, and my clients work a lot better. Every startup I've worked with has a lot better results when they look at the big picture instead of just focusing on SEO or just focusing on one thing or another. Every now and then I'll get a client who they already have, the whole cross-channel thing figured out, and they just need like one specific thing, like, hey, we need an analytics fix over here, and I'll do that. But my focus is growth consulting, which is essentially helping people build products and the marketing campaigns to get that product to the market that it needs to be.
Right. So where do you start with someone? They come to you and say, hey, I got this really good widget, really good service, but nobody knows me.
Yeah.
I still do want to get into some technical weeds on SEO, but I am interested just overall. where do you start with somebody? Somebody's listening to this and they're on a tight budget. They're on a shoestring budget. Maybe they're on credit cards, keeping ends to make ends meet. Where do you start with them? What can they do kind of on their own, just with your advice, to try to bootstrap it and grow?
Well, first things first, careful with the credit cards. I would definitely suggest getting some kind of valuation for, or even if it's just going on Google and looking up one of the basic startup growth calculators, just figuring out how long it's going to take before you actually start making revenue. And the biggest step that so many people on a small budget with a great idea forget is, no matter how great your idea may be, or more accurately, how great you think your idea is, if it doesn't have a market, it's not going to work. The biggest obstacle that entrepreneurs have to overcome is really letting go of their specific idea of what their product looks like for the sake of the bigger vision of what they're trying to accomplish. Because sometimes specifically what their first version of their product looks like may not be what there's a market for.
How do you know, though? Like Apple, Apple comes out with the iPhone in 2007. How did they know that was going to work?
Well, Apple has access to data that most people in the budget range we're talking about don't have.
Right.
So the way Apple can figure that out is they can run surveys through massive credit bureaus, massive data banks, and beta tests. I'm actually not with Apple, but I'm actually part of Google's beta testing program. A lot of their products, like if you're familiar with Google Fi, it's their new phone service.
Google what?
Google Fi, Fi.
No.
It's a new phone service that actually Google is providing, a cell phone service. Defaults to internet instead of to 4G, so you tend to save more data. Interesting. I love the product. But things like that, they'll companies as big as Google or Apple, what they'll do is they'll put together massive beta testing groups, like the one that I'm a part of, and they'll try out a project, they'll try out a program, or sometimes they'll try it just in one city, and they'll see how it works. And if for each product it's different, but if you can calculate how long it's going to take you to make revenue, and if you can afford to last that long, then you need to make sure that enough people who beta tested your product actually feel like they couldn't do without your product. Like it would hinder their work, their life, make their days more difficult if your product weren't available to them. If that's not the case, then you don't have a market. You have a cool product that maybe people are like, yeah, if I had money, yeah, I would spend on that. But it's not something that says, yes, this makes my life easier.
So how can the small company, how can a small guy validate their idea?
Yeah, okay. So first things first, look for your pre-existing audiences. So I had, I can't say who, but I had a client come to me just a couple of weeks ago with this great idea for this cross-platform application that had potential markets between the healthcare industry, the recruiting industry, the leadership training industry, all sorts of possible markets. And no idea which one was worth going for at first. And of course, we're having the same exact conversation you and I are having now, and I find out about a week later that this particular client had two different blogs that has about 40,000 visitors a week. Well, there's your beta testing group right there. So if you already have any kind of pre-existing audience, look at that, or look at any other pre-existing audience that you can get to. If you don't have one of those, then one thing that I would suggest is, a couple of things. If you've already built the product, or if you at least have a landing page up for the product, get yourself listed on websites like, if you just have a landing page up, then get yourself listed on websites like BetaList. All that BetaList List does, it's a website that posts landing pages for new products that are coming to help you get traffic to a landing page to start building your email list. And the beauty of that is you can use SurveyMonkey or any other free survey tool to start asking questions before you're even done building the product.
Is it just
so you can start
betalist.com?
Yeah. It's actually betali.st, I believe.
Oh, there is a betalist.com. What the heck is that?
It could be the same thing.
Discover tomorrow's startups today. I don't know. Let's talk about that too.
Actually, it's the same. Looks like it's the same website.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, very cool. So if you're new, all right. I'm multitasking here, man. I got two screens. Discover tomorrow's community where makers showcase their startup and get feedback. Oh, very cool.
Yep.
I bet you have to be thick-skinned, huh? Because you put your baby up there, and basically they're going to say you have an ugly baby.
yeah. You gotta be ready for, and that's where I was saying that as an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to let go of your specific idea of what your product looks like for the sake of your bigger vision. Because once you put it up on a website like Beta List, and that's just one. There are other websites like it. But once you put your website up there, you're going to get critique, and you're going to put out if you're doing it right, you're going to be putting out surveys, and you might ask a question. Vital questions to ask are things like, if this product wasn't in your life, would it make a difference? And if not enough people say yes, then you got a problem. You need to come up with a new way to meet the needs of your market. And then if you already have built a product, or at least an MVP or minimum viable product, you can actually put it on websites like Product Hunt is a great place to put new products.
So what's the deal?
They will be brutal if it's terrible.
What's the deal with Product Hunt? Because I keep hearing that more and more. And is it for brand new people with a new one? Is it kind of like Beta List?
Sort of. You have to be accepted, and the easiest way to do that, and the same way that I became part of it is to sign up on the website and start voting. They don't allow you to comment, and they don't allow you to post unless the rules have changed. They don't allow you to post your own product until you've proven yourself to be an active member and actually paying attention to the products that are posted there. So you do have to show an interest in what they call the maker community, people who make products. Mm-hmm. So you have to give something before you get something from a site like Product Hunt.
Right.
But I kind of like that, just personally. And then of course once you're accepted, or if you know somebody who's accepted, it's a great place to post your product, get some of those early users. If you have the money, you can go to websites like Early Bird, ERLI, Bird, and you can actually buy beta testing groups. But like I said, that costs money. So if you're on a budget, that might not be an option.
Okay.
Really low budget, but not always the best. It's a little harder to monitor the type of traffic you're going to get. Is Reddit. I know that sounds strange because Reddit is such a motley crew of
Reddit is kind of cool. I've been liking it more and more.
Yeah, no, we actually have seen some success doing AMAs, finding and AMAs for those who aren't avid Redditors, that stands for Ask Me Anything.
Right.
And so we'll do something like an AMA where the founder of the startup will find some kind of subreddit, and it helps to be active on Reddit yourself. I moderate a couple of subreddits, and if you can find a subreddit, which is basically a community on Reddit that has to do with your market, see if the moderators will let you do an Ask Me Anything. And basically you just say, hey, I founded this product. It does this. Try to make some kind of story that's not just like, hey, I have this new product. Like in the case of LawKick, we did an AMA. One of the founders had dropped out of law school actually to start this. And so we let him run the AMA. And that was the story. Dropped out of law school to start a legal tech startup, and we ran it in law and law school subreddits, and got a ton of new signups and a lot of inquiries as a result. So that's a great way to get some traffic that may not last. They may not be users that stick around, but it's a great way to kind of brute force test your product and get some very no holds barred feedback. Because I mean, Reddit is for the most part, it's anonymous, so people will say just about anything, which can be brutal. But if you handle it right, it can go well.
Right. Hey, what was the? I had Product Hunt listed, beta list. I'm trying to take some notes here.
Yeah.
What was the other one before Reddit? You mentioned another one that's good, like if you're on a bit of a lower budget.
Early Bird.
Early Bird. Okay.
Yeah. Now that one is not always as good for lower budgets because you do have to pay. Basically, that's paid beta testing.
Right.
So people who literally just go around and beta test products.
Yeah.
That's only useful if you have the budget for it, obviously.
So when somebody comes to you, do you help them validate their ideas even before you get going? Or, I mean, can you tell if something's already decent, and then you can just hit the ground running with them?
It depends on if they've already gone through the process of finding a product market fit. Like the client I mentioned before that came to me a couple of weeks ago, they have no product yet. They still need to develop it. We still need to go through the whole UX process. For them, obviously, yes, part of my job is helping them through the product market fit stage, and making sure that they don't spend too much money developing the product, before assuring that they actually have a market, which that's where a lot of trust comes in terms of, obviously I make more money if they hire me for development. So that's part of why I like to do the product market fit first, and kind of build that trust. Because a lot of consultants, a lot of agencies at least, will go in the exact opposite orders. And I've noticed the same thing with incubators. So yeah, I will help people with product market fit, but sometimes startups will come to me and they've already not just startups. Sometimes people that have had products for 10 or more years will come to me and they already know their product works. They have enterprise clients, or already making $60 million a year, and obviously I don't have to worry about product market fit with them. We can just worry about the next campaign for growth and their next growth engine.
Right. Very cool. So when does SEO come into play?
When in the are we talking about with just a general company, or are we talking about a startup that is getting started?
Well, I don't know. Let's talk about both, because you bring up a good point. I mean, it is different for each. Although, well, I'll let you answer it before I skew your answer with.
Okay. Yeah. Well, the short version is you should always be thinking about SEO. As you're building out, whether you're just a brand new website, just building out your first few landing pages, your first few content pages, et cetera, you should definitely be thinking about it. If you're a local small business, you should absolutely know at least the basics of local SEO. Your reviews, your citations. You should know what NAP stands for: name, address, and phone number. That's what a citation is for local SEO. We can come back to that if you want. If you're an established business and you have or a startup that has the time and budget to start putting together guides and keep a steady blog and potentially create a library of resources, then yeah, you should start going for some serious SEO on that front. Companies like Kissmetrics, they got famous for getting insane amounts of growth and a huge number. I don't remember the statistic off the top of my head, but it was a ridiculous number of new signups and new users. And all they started doing was posting a new infographic every week, and publicizing it on other websites, putting it on directories, working on the SEO for the rest of their blog by getting traffic to those infographics, getting people to share those infographics on social media, which Google now uses as one of their ranking signals. And the results for that were huge, and they were a startup. So it really depends on if you have the resources and time to really create the content for search engine optimization, or if you're a local business focusing on the local side.
Yeah. So what do you mean when you say work on your SEO? Can we get in the weeds a little bit there? And you talked about creating a library of resources. Can you expand on that?
Sure. Well, first things first. When I say work on SEO, that means different things based on the type of company you are. There's just regular organic search engine optimization, and that's websites you'll go to, blogs you'll go to. When you search, you'll see links. And then there's local search engine optimization, and you know how sometimes when you'll search for, let's say, general physician in New York, you'll see 3 to 5 results of doctors in your general area near the top of the search results. That's a completely different search engine. A lot of people don't know this, but that's a completely different algorithm, a completely different search engine than the rest of Google search, those regular blue links that you see on a Google search result page.
So you're talking about like the maps,
exactly.
that kind of insert sort of result?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The ones that if you click take you to the actual maps application.
Gotcha.
Yeah, those are two different search engines. What's also a different search engine, let's say you're an e-commerce site. You know how now if you do a Google search, there's a tab now for shopping. And what you see there are called PLAs, which stands for product listing ads.
Okay.
If you want to get listed on those, you got to pay for it. There's no organic product listing in the shopping section of Google.
Product listing ads?
Ads, exactly. Okay. PLAs.
It's just another form of SEM, right? Search engine marketing and PPC, basically. Exactly.
And then again, if you're a news website, or if you have a news section of your website, you have to. That's again a completely separate search engine. You have to get accepted to the Google News Publisher program, publish your content a certain way with a certain type of feed that gets automatically published to Google. So first things first, you have to figure out what kind of site you are. And for most people, they fall into one of two categories. They're either looking for organic, just regular organic content search, those typical blue links, or you're looking for local search if you're a local business, or if you're a franchise or a company that has multiple branches or locations. That's also a case where you'd be looking at local search engine optimization. But those are two completely different ways of going about search engine optimization based on what you're going after.
Okay. Because, organic, I mean, local is organic, but it's optimized for local.
Right. Yeah. Well, sort of.
Okay.
Let's say you just do a Google search, just any generic Google search, and there are local results for it. So we'll use the example from earlier. You're looking for a general physician we'll make it more specific, Brooklyn, New York. Now, there's probably more than 3 results, but lately Google's been defaulting to 3 to 5 results in what they call the universal search results. And that's that first page. So you go to google.com, you type in general physician, Brooklyn, New York, and I haven't actually done this search, so it may look a little different. But generally speaking, you'll see a couple of blue links. Actually, you'll see a couple of ads, most likely a few ads, especially in a place like New York. Then you'll see a couple of links, just organic links, and then what they call the local map pack. And that's the 3 to 5 results.
Local map what?
Pack.
Pack? P-A-C-K?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's the 3 to 5 results that they show on the universal results page, that first page that happens when you do a Google search. And it's basically all they do is they pull the top 3 to 5 results as if you had done the same exact search on Google Maps on your phone.
Very interesting. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling this
So
up.
if you want to be listed in the universal results, you really want to be in the top three on if you're a local business. If you're organic, just looking for organic content traffic, like let's say you're looking for something generic like a how-to guide. Like for instance, one of my more successful lead generating posts was actually a post on medium.com. And it was an essay I wrote on 6 reasons why you shouldn't hire a growth hacker. Believe it or not, I get a lot of my work from that particular post. It seems a little counterintuitive, but
and you put that on Medium, and why is that?
Because a lot of people will assume that a growth hacker can just suddenly do wonders for their business, and they don't realize the things that I just told you. Like, for instance, first you have to find a product market fit. So one of the reasons not to hire a growth hacker is if you haven't found product market fit, first you got to hire somebody that can help you find product market fit, or learn how to do it yourself. Because somebody who can create growth engines can't do it for a market that doesn't exist.
So, but why Medium? It's just you riding kind of their coattails of better exposure?
Honestly, it was an experiment. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe I should put it on my own blog, but I'd never posted on Medium at that time. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to post this one on Medium. And sure enough, I ended up being a good decision. It got picked up by growthhackers.com. Sean Ellis started a conversation about it. We talked a little bit on the Growth Hackers forum, and then it ended up getting recommended on Medium by a lot of people in the growth hacker community, including the CMO of Pinterest, a few people that obviously people pay attention to. So that ended up being a very good decision. I definitely don't regret that.
So it's So I'm looking here. Did you change the name of it after you wrote it? Because it says six reasons, but the URL says 5.
Yeah, that's one downside to publishing on Medium. You can't change the URL. That's one SEO downside. You can't change the URL. At least not that I know of.
Are you able to track your visits back to your site from here? I mean,
yes.
You can see?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, but actually, and going back to the reason I brought that article up is that particular article that was a how-to guide, and I think it's dropped to page 2 now. But for a little while, it was on page 1 for how to hire a growth hacker, and that's what I'm referring to when I'm talking about organic traffic to those regular blue links. You're not going to find a link to that in a Google search result in the local pack. You will find a result. Or you could find a result if it's good content, if it's shared by reputable people on social media. You will be able to get yourself ranked on the first page. But again, you're looking for not just the typical, how do I rank my website, or how to build a website. Things that there's already a lot of other people trying to rank for. You're looking for keywords, and not just keywords. Honestly, I'm starting to hate using the word keyword when I'm talking about SEO. Phrases are really more what's becoming the trend. Recurring.
It's still a keyword, though.
It is, but it's referred to more as what are called long tail keywords.
Right.
Especially if you're on a smaller budget, it's going to take you a really long time to build enough content and prove to Google that your website is reputable enough to answer a very, very common question that tens of thousands of people search for every single day. It's going to take a while.
Now, how did you know your article? I mean, did you just write, from the heart and just put out a good article, or did you take the time to research growth hacker or growth hacker related words and sprinkle them into the Medium article?
The latter. I sprinkled them in.
Okay.
You have to be careful there because Google will penalize you for what they call keyword stuffing.
Yep.
So everybody has a different recommendation of what percent of your content should be your keywords. I don't worry about the percent. I make it sound natural, because sounding natural is going to get your content shared. It's going to get your content noticed and linked to. And honestly, that's more important than the keywords. 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, most SEO people would not have said that because that wasn't true. Google's algorithm wasn't that smart at the time. But Google's gotten smarter. And they have artificial intelligence and programmatic learning algorithms now running in their search engine with daily rolling updates, which basically means that every day Google is learning better what query intent is. And query intent is basically their word for what the person using Google is really looking for based on what they type in, what they really are wanting. And so, yes, I got on Google Trends, which is a great tool, trends.google.com. I got on the AdWords Keyword Planner tool. I looked up what people were generally searching for. There are other tools that help you find long-tail keywords. None of them that I know of are as free. But one thing that is very useful is to actually keep an eye on news articles in your area, in your field, or in your market. And there's actually a tool from Customer Dev Labs. Let's see if I can find it. I'll send you the link. There's a tool that actually allows you to put in keywords and look for news about anything related in your field. And not only does it pull the news, but it also pulls the journalists that are publishing the most content in your field. And what you can do is you can take that information, take their websites, take their names, and put them into a tool like BuzzStream. BuzzStream is what I like to use for essentially what it does is it goes in and it finds these journalists' Twitter accounts, it finds their LinkedIn, finds their email address if it's available, phone number if it's published anywhere. And then what you can do is you can actually start interacting with these journalists, start talking with them, being interested in their content. That way, when it does come time for you to publish your article, not only do you know what their readers are already commenting on and reading about, but you also know these journalists that you can reach out to and say, hey, I just published this article. I'd love to get your thoughts. And since you're not just some random person, you've already been communicating with them and contributing, again, back to their community and their audience. They're a lot more likely to be interested in what you have to say, which really means that these days search engine optimization is a lot more about personal relationships than it used to be. It used to be about link building and keywords, and while those are still part of search engine optimization, honestly, I've found a lot more results in personal relationships and direct contact than actual
Shut the front door. You mean be a human being?
Yeah, what a novel idea.
Oh, man, that's awesome. All right, so where the heck were we? We're talking about SEO. So it was what? Startups versus established? I don't know. Did we cover all that? Or?
We sort of did. Essentially, it's a matter of when you have the resources and the time to start building out the content that's required for that.
Right.
And like I said, sometimes we mentioned Medium before. Sometimes maybe you don't have the time to start your own resource section for your website. Maybe you don't have an intern that can write your articles for you, although interns are usually a great way to start that type of a project for a startup. Sometimes what you can do is you can piggyback off of, and this is going back to where we started, piggyback off of pre-existing audiences. So in my case with that particular growth article, I've been part of a bunch of different growth hacker communities for a while. I've been involved with growthhacker.tv. I've been involved with growthhackers.com, posting inbound.org, posting, commenting, sharing information, Reddit, of course. Basically making sure that people actually know who you are before you share their content, and sharing their content.
Right.
And like I said, and like you said, being a human being.
How should somebody divvy that up? Let's say they are kind of new. Maybe they haven't been blogging a lot. They don't have a lot of content. How do you know, like the ratio? Should they just rotate it, put one blog post on their site, then maybe a couple of days later put one on Medium, a couple of days later put it on LinkedIn? But, all new content. But, I mean, how do you divvy that up?
Well, there isn't a single answer for that. You do what we call an A/B test, and you see which works best for you. So you use a tool like Bitly or some other tool that lets you track link clicks, and you see which of those platforms brings in the most conversions. Now, the beauty of Medium and LinkedIn that you mentioned, I'm assuming you're referring to LinkedIn Pulse.
Right.
The beauty of those two platforms is Medium actually now allows, they've opened a new product that actually allows you to use Medium as your brand. So you can actually brand yourself as your own company, but publish on Medium and access their pre-existing audience. I haven't personally tested out that tool, but that seems like a very interesting way to kind of kill two birds with one stone. And LinkedIn Pulse, actually, if done properly, you can actually use LinkedIn Pulse to repurpose content you've published. Obviously, you can't republish exactly what you've posted somewhere else, or you can get penalized for duplicate content. But you can still repurpose things like infographics, ebooks. If you split them into chapters, oftentimes I'll start with writing long form content like an ebook and publish one chapter as a blog post, or half of a chapter on my blog and then another half on LinkedIn, and with a link to download, which then gets you a lead right there. And really, it's just a matter of split testing which platform gets you the most results. If your goal is branding, then you want to see which of them gets you the most awareness. If your goal is leads, you want to see which of those platforms brings in the most email addresses and phone numbers.
Right. Very cool. What about PPC? I mean, would you recommend somebody just write an article and then just go ahead and pay for traffic to get people coming back? And I know a lot of people are still scared of buying ads.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you got to get eyeballs to your site one way or another. I mean, you're either going to pay for ads, pay for traffic, or you're going to do this organic thing, which takes longer.
Yeah. It depends on your budget, to be honest. There are, generally speaking, most of the time, when you pay for an ad, you're paying for it to go to a specific landing page. That landing page could be a download for an ebook. It could be a white paper. It could be just a lead generation form to request a call. It could be a product if it's e-commerce, or it could be a link to a podcast or whatever it is you're trying to sell. The reason most of those ads go that way is because it's easier to justify paying for an ad when you're leading those people directly to something that they are going to be paying for, or at least indirectly. If you know how much each lead is worth to you, then you can justify bidding a certain amount for those leads.
Right.
So, for instance, if 20% of your leads convert into clients, and each client has a customer lifetime value of X amount, then 20% of that amount, you obviously don't want to pay more than that for your ads, or you're spending more than you're making.
Right.
Or at least spending more than what your leads are actually worth. Only once you have a real, and I'm talking a real legitimate content marketing budget, should you think about paying for ads to content like that. And that's, people are going to give you different advice on that. That's my personal opinion. And my first go-to would not be search engine ads.
Okay.
My first go-to for something like that would be social media.
Okay.
Twitter is a great place for that. LinkedIn is a great place for that. Facebook as well. All great places for advertising white papers, downloads, and then of course there are actual content networks as well. I believe it. Let me make sure I got their name right. I believe it's called Taboola.
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 That's it. Taboola. It's a content discovery platform. And you can pay to get your content linked to from major websites like CNN and major other news corporations as well. Outbrain is another one. It's a little harder to control where your content is seen, but it can bring in a lot of traffic depending on how you have it set up. And then of course, I can't believe I forgot this. Of course, whenever you post content, I always default to making sure I share it as well on StumbleUpon. Doesn't always take off, but it's guaranteed to at least get shown to a few people that are interested in your topic. And
I don't think I've used StumbleUpon in years.
Yeah, I know, but apparently it's still actually a big thing, believe it or not, especially with their new mobile app and the updates to it. I would definitely recommend putting whatever you do on any pre-existing groups, communities that you're in, as well as if StumbleUpon. And if you're looking at paid content or paying for traffic to your content, before looking at ads on search engines, usually I would look at, like I said, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Taboola, Outbrain, and actually StumbleUpon paid content promotion.
All right, so I'm pulling up StumbleUpon now, and I haven't.
It's changed, hasn't it?
What do you want to explore, Wes Schaefer? Should I put paranormal?
The creepy part is that they already know who you are.
Well, yeah, I just went ahead and connected with Facebook. I've just learned that's the easiest way. And so what do we have? Beer? All right, I can do beer. I'm down with that. So once I click on somewhere, it's just business. Good grief. They don't have business? Action movies, animals, babes. Hey, woo. My wife would kill me. Hip hop and rap. I don't know. What do you do? Technology? What do you click on?
A lot of categories have subcategories that they won't list, especially in that initial sign up.
Yeah.
So if you go to technology, I think under technology you end up what StumbleUpon does is it learns you. It learns what you like. So you thumb up or thumb down each article that you look at. So let's say somebody's interested in learning about growth, like what I publish about, or learning about SEO. They can start with technology. They'll see an article about growth or SEO. They'll give it a thumbs up. They'll see more of those. They see less if they give those type of articles a thumbs down. Easiest way.
It's like Tinder for the internet for looking up data.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like they've actually rebranded StumbleUpon Paid Discovery as StumbleUpon Ads. It's just ads.stumbleupon.com.
See, I connect to Facebook. They know I have kids. The first ad I see is food for less.
Yep. Yep.
Very cool. So I can post to here?
You can post to there for free. Yes, you can. Any website you go to, if you have the StumbleUpon, bookmark in your browser, you can just post it, and that's just free. I do that.
I would write my own article and then basically visit my own website and stumble upon it. Basically,
submit it to StumbleUpon. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, like I said, sometimes that'll do something. Sometimes that'll get you maybe 10 visitors. That's it. But
if it's literally just a browser button, go hit it and hit like. I mean,
exactly.
Okay, all of 0.2 seconds. That's worth it.
Exactly. And once you have a budget to start paying for it, you can look at StumbleUpon ads. And I mean, everybody from BuzzFeed to Inc.com, all use StumbleUpon ads. It's one of the, if not the largest content distribution and discovery websites out there. I really like this their landing page. Actually, it has a counter on how many pages that have been stumbled just since you've been reading this page. So since about 2 minutes ago when I loaded it, about 11,000 pages have been stumbled on.
All right, where am I? So I'm on just the home page or whatever it took me to. Mm-hmm. So where do you see the count?
That's ads.stumbleupon.com.
Oh, ads. Okay.
Yep. And that's when you have the budget for what you were asking about with paying for content distribution.
Gotcha.
The nice thing about this too is, especially these days, written content still really good and the easiest to get indexed in Google. But other elements, other types of media are often getting more network effect sharing,
right?
In terms of getting in front of the audience. So multimedia, video, infographics, audio, interactive infographics is starting to be a thing slowly but slowly.
What is that?
Interactive infographics.
Oh.
A type of infographic where you can put in information unique to your own business, and it's basically just a small version of an app, but it looks like an infographic.
Man, all types of stuff.
Little calculators for your tools. Yeah, rich media, basically.
Right.
That tends to be working a lot better in terms of actually sharing. And plus, it plays out very well if you're using things like Twitter cards to show off your media on Twitter better than just a link.
Very cool. Well, man, we're already coming up on an hour. This is amazing.
I know.
So one of the questions I've started asking everybody is, picture our listeners. They are unable to take action right now. They're listening as they're jogging, they're on an airplane, they're commuting. As soon as they get somewhere where they can do something based on this podcast, I mean, what's the one thing you'd say, go do this, in the next 24 hours, make sure and shore this up, use this free plug-in, Word Yoast SEO. I mean, what would you say they should go do to grow from this episode?
If you haven't yet, first thing you should do is go to your Google Analytics and any other analytics tool you're using. And if you're not using, you should be, and make sure that you are tracking every single KPI that really shows whether or not your business is succeeding. And KPI is a key performance indicator. A lot of people will set up their Google Analytics and they'll just let it run. They won't see problems. They won't get regular weekly reports. They don't actually track conversions to leads. And so all their analytics are doing is sitting there and saying, oh, hey, you got traffic. Congrats. Or you didn't get traffic. That's unfortunate.
Well, I think a lot of people, they don't know what to look at. They don't know what is important to even track.
Yeah. Well, then in that case, if you're in that boat and you don't know what's important to track, then reverse engineer your business. Think about what it is that brings you revenue. So the way I measure all of this, you may be familiar with this. It's referred to as pirate metrics. And no, I did not come up with this. Oh. There are stages of measuring your business and different metrics. It's acquisition, activation, and acquisition is obviously getting traffic to your website or your blog or whatever the case may be. Activation is getting interest. So that's them leaving an email address to download an ebook or maybe clicking yes on an in-mail that you sent in LinkedIn, whatever the case may be. That's activating their interest. The next stage is revenue, and that's actually turning someone whose interest has been activated into a revenue-paying client. The next thing you want to measure is referral. And that's whether or not these people are then going out and creating a network effect to bring you more business. And last but not least, retention. Are you able to keep these clients, and are they going to stick around, continue paying, continue bringing in more revenue for your business, which obviously brings you back full circle to acquisition. So think about that. Think about what makes your company revenue, what makes your business revenue, and then reverse engineer your key performance indicators. So let's say your business model is software as a service. Well, what matters to you is not actually signups. That's a common mistake. It doesn't matter how many people sign up for your software if they're not actually using it, if they're not actually paying for a monthly subscription. What matters to you is something like monthly average users. It's metrics like the lifetime value of how much revenue you make of a customer divided by how much it costs to get that customer in the first place. Mm-hmm. So reverse engineer using those metrics to figure out whether or not, well, to figure out the answer to your question, Wes, and that's what you should be tracking, what your KPIs are. And then from there, you can look at Google Analytics and Mixpanel or any other tool that you're using for analytics, and you can use the math, use the conversion tracking, or if you have to, just export it to Excel and do it in Excel, and figure out whether or not your metrics are actually growing. Because, like I said, a common mistake with a software as a service model is going to signups. Nobody cares about signups, not in software as a service. So reverse engineer what makes you revenue, what gets you acquisition, what gets you activation, what gets you referral, what gets you retention, and create metrics that match your business model as a result.
Right.
And make sure you're tracking those, not just traffic, not just how people got to your website, but what is actually working for those 5 elements of your business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I came up with ABCDE, and it's basically what these guys saying. It's attract. Mm-hmm. And I break that down into 2 parts: attracting visitors, but then attracting opt-ins. Somehow getting them to sign up for your birthday club or something, so you know who they are. Yep. And then attract, bond, right? Yep. So staying in touch, dripping on them, multimedia, multi-touch, and then conversion, into cash, and then deliver, and really over-deliver, and then you endear.
Exactly.
And it gets them talking about you, testimonials, referrals, sharing your stuff on social media, and then it comes back to the attract side.
Exactly.
So I wonder if those guys are stealing from me or if I'm stealing from them. And since I've never heard of them, I can honestly say I did not steal from them. It is very cool.
It sounds like either acronym does the trick.
Yeah, and I'll link to them. Looks like they got a new URL, expectedbehavior.com.
Huh. I haven't looked at their site in a really long time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's simple, cuts to the chase.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nathan C. Brown, this has been awesome. I will link to you, and your website is nathancbrown.me, correct?
That is correct.
And I'll link to you as well in your LinkedIn profile. So that's a cool place. People can find you and connect. So thanks for coming on the Sales Podcast. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having me, Wes. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a great day.
You too.
Wow. There was some powerful information in this episode. I hope you took notes. I hope you visit thesaleswhisperer.com/session 189 for all of the links. There's just too many to even bring up. There are some important differences in local SEO versus national or international SEO. So please, if you are a local business, follow those links. Understand the NAP. Okay, the NAP acronym. You need to have that showing prominently on your local searches. If you are launching a new product, make sure you are validating them. Make sure you are not in love with your offering. You need to understand what the market wants, what it needs, what it will pay for. There's a difference between surveys and people actually reaching into their pocket and handing you money. So just because a focus group says they would buy what you offer, until they buy what you offer, all you have is a concept. So follow those links in this interview that helps you validate ideas and do it quickly and do it affordably. Okay, keeping your powder dry, right? Living below your means is one of the greatest ways to grow your business. And I should say the opposite, really. If you overextend yourself, your business will die. Okay, it just is. And I've had so many guests, going back to Cliff Ravenscraft and so many who told their stories of living under their means, saving up for a rainy day, saving up so they could launch and go do their own thing and follow their dreams. So, live under your means, test things quickly, test things affordably, and then go make as much money as you can. If you need some help with this and you would like to hang out with 5 motivated entrepreneurs to help you dig in, turn over the stones, tell you if your baby is ugly, okay, for lack of a better term, then check out the5.us. That's where 5 individuals plus me will hang out with you for 2.5 days and help you get Mo Better. Thanks for listening to this podcast. To help me get Mo Better, leave your comments, share this, leave a review on iTunes, help others find it. Let me know what you want to hear more of, and I will accommodate as best as I can. Thanks for listening, and always remember to sell different.